Hey you! Wanna watch a second season of the most expensive show ever made, yet is still so cringe even its own characters fling themselves off cliffs just to try to get off the programme as soon as possible? Want to watch a show about gaslighting senior citizens to the point of self-harm? And that's returned so full of creative juices it recycles its own storyline from season 1 by farcically doubling down with a second super secret Sauron plot? Want to enjoy an adaptation of a classic English fantasy, but don't like logic, fun, or even a slight commitment to lore? Well, have I got just the series for you, fella? For I give you The Rings of Cringe. Now back for round 2, but clearly having learned fuck all.
But unless we both trust in the rings now, all will be lost. With 3 there is balance. Don't you remember?
So you're saying there's power in many?
The power of many.
No! A series so thrilling. Even its main characters would rather stare at mice all day than get on with progressing the awful central plot. The series stars Charles Edwards and Robert Arameo, in the lead roles as elven heroes Elrond and Celery Brimbo, as well as Charlie Vickers as arch-villain Halbrand, aka Sauron, aka Anatard, the Lord of the fucking Gifts and Silly Wigs, who spends most of the season stuck with a dodgy Barnet and manipulating everyone around him to cook him up some fancy jewellery. Because he supposedly wants to turn all of Middle-earth into a stunning and brave multiracial utopia of his own design.
No way!
Yes way. Whilst out to stop him from actually turning the entire realm into a fiery hellscape of chaos and violence, aka 2020 Portland, Oregon, it's phony fakey Gandalf, who is still so competent he keeps blowing away his mates with his magic, but not in a good way. Perpetually miserable warrior elf Galadriel and her elfy archer chum Arondir, who's still working on producing that all-coveted second facial expression, as well as all the returning characters from the Dwarven and Númenórean lands, and even a recast and bizarrely deep-faked Adar for some reason. What? Also featuring various newcomers this season, including Kieran Hines, Amelia Kenworthy, and even English thespian Rory Kinnear as Tom Bombadil.
Bombadil. Tom Bombadil.
Nobody cares!
Season 2 continues the epic saga and relentless battle against the forces of evil, and also against whiny soy boys smashing up holy relics and committing casual hate crimes by shanking innocent black men when their back is turned, whilst also introducing Game of Thrones style royal coups and civil war shit, and even managing to include biting socio-political commentary, like having characters go full Extinction Rebellion trying to stop a greedy capitalist from opening up another mine, and I assume some sort of cultural commentary commenting on current day Reddit types by placing poor Keller Brimbor in an echo chamber and making him live in an ignorant bubble of false reality. Anyway, chock full of star-studded cameos from the likes of Aragog from the Harry Potter flicks, the entire surviving lineup of the Rolling Stones, some sort of Targaryen bastard who's wandered off from the set of the recent House of the Dragon show, and even vice presidential candidate Tim fucking Waltz.
I've become friends with school shooters.
The Rings of Power is legacy-ruining, time-wasting turbo tripe like you've never seen it before. Well, at least since season 1 or the bloody Acolyte, I guess. Yep, the series is a rip-roaring ride through highly original genre themes and tropes. Like how hoarding extreme wealth only ever leads to paranoia, greed and the fraying of familial bonds, and how saying the title of the show in the show will never not be total cringe.
The Lord of the Rings.
He said it! He said it!
They shall be rings of power.
There it is! There it is!
Directed by a stunning and brave team of independent boss bitches, which is so progressive in its diversity it was mandated to be 100% female behind the camera, and which may go a ways in explaining just why it's full of nonsensical plot holes and even laughably depicts Sauron as a nuanced victim who can still be changed, the series was a smash hit in the ratings. Well, more like a tiny thud, I guess, given the sophomore season fans have waited 2 years to see couldn't even top reruns of a show that came out 2 decades ago in the Nielsen streaming charts, and was so good even Forbes couldn't believe the positive reviews were remotely real.
Bruh.
Which is sad, because the series does attempt to ask deep philosophical questions about human nature. Like, shouldn't everyone deserve to be loved and live in peace no matter where they come from or what they look like? Or can dopey Dark Lords ever give a simple Zapp Brannigan-style motivational speech, encouraging his minions to lay down their lives for his cause and go get inevitably slaughtered, without being betrayed by his hired goons and swiftly murdered with his own hand?
Bruh.
Ultimately, The Rings of Power 2, Bull Rocky's Boogaloo, pretty much does what Dopey Deezer does in episode 5 by totally dropping the ball. And it's a show that's already become a tired and tangled mess of rushed character arcs and wonky timelines, given all 9 rings are now made and they've likely written themselves into a massive corner for season 3.
No!
So what's the verdict? Can I recommend this series? Well, maybe, if you want to see the only representation of a traditional nuclear family allowed on TV these days being ugly crusty demon goblins who now just want to go cottaging for some reason.
What?
And I suppose on if you can stomach the sight of the elfy flat-faced fella snogging his technical mother-in-law, potentially triggering scenes of workplace harassment featuring midget-on-midget bullying, a second helping of the nudie wizard who can't seem to keep his clothes on for one full season, and even more bloody hate crimes, such as Adar stabbing up the first black elf who used to host CNN back in the day, a giant racist sea beast refusing to gobble up an ethnic lady, presumably due to the high cholesterol levels in the melanin content, and Gladys telling a bunch of oppressed minorities to go back to where they came from.
These are elven lands. Go back to the shadow. Hate crime!
And all that is before you even get to the truly terrible dialogue.
Sauron used me, and under his hand I was played like a harp to a melody not of my choosing.
Shut up, you slag!
And even a turn to a rather rapey misogynist Ben.
Give me your ring.
Disgusting!
But at the end of the day, I suggest making your own mind up about this one. So I guess you just need to ask yourself a few questions. Have you always wondered if democracy could be improved if we just held elections determined by giant strange eagles flying down on porches and screaming in people's faces all day? Have you ever wanted to wait 2 years for the second season of a $400 million show? And then sitting through what amounts to be a glorified counselling session, essentially watching a moody bloke try to get over his past trauma and also befriending a therapy dog? Whilst a bunch of pretentious gits with deformed ears fight over the ownership rights of jewellery? Or have you recently been nostalgic for your college days and just want to be reminded of those wild orgies which also ended with a bunch of unlikable twats staring at each other's rings? Well, if so, then the Rings of Power Season 2, my friend, is the series for you.